Good morning. Welcome to my studio. My name is Tommy. You've landed on my channel, Tommy Creates. This is going to be the first video in a series, a quilt that I have designed myself. It's going to be in solid fabric, Kona. This is the first time I've done a solid quilt, all solids. It's a graduation gift for a young man who I've known for a very long time. I assume he won't watch these videos until after he gets the quilt. I hope not anyway. If you're watching, Ben, please turn off the video now. All right, so here we are. This is, this book, 5,500 Quilt Block Designs by Maggie Malone. I love this book. I think I've shown it before. So this is like the book is divided into sections. The first section is 9 patches, which there are hundreds of, like, 9 patch being something that's divisible by 3. Some of these aren't quite so obviously 9. So this has 9 patches in it, right? So this is the one that I've chosen right here, number 108. It's called Patio Tiles. I forget what these are for, but it says where it was first published. So this is like a book that's been researched, taken patterns from hundreds of sources and combined them, over a long time too. So I like this one. It seemed pretty, I like complicated blocks. And it seemed like it suited my purpose. What I wanted to do is, the recipient of this quilt, Ben, he has been a Lego fanatic his whole life. I think he still is. He does all kinds of stuff with Lego, really amazing things. And so my idea was that I wanted to make a quilt that wasn't like Lego, but could kind of like be a reminder of that, sort of riffs off of it. Say. So I like how, the opportunity for lots of colors. The shapes are very, very much like you would see Lego blocks, right? So that was the inspiration for that. And so this is what I came up with. So you can see here at the top, this is how I design. I have this really small graph paper. It's maybe 10 per, it's like 10 per inch. So I drew out the block for starters. I numbered them and I kind of gave it a basic value structure. I don't design in color. Sometimes I have the colors already in mind and I base the value structure on the fabric that I already have, but sometimes not. Sometimes I've just designed something. And so you can kind of see the value pattern that develops. And then then I add fabric to that. So maybe like on this block, there are 5 blocks that are the lightest light. They're not all the same color. So I've given numbers to, so number 1 and number 1 here I've got my pointer. So this is and this block are the same, and they're both fabric number 1, which down here fabric number 1 is red. And once I figured out the whole layout of the quilt, then I could calculate how many yards I would need. And sometimes I'm totally wrong, so don't base a quilt off of my numbers, please. But this is just my process. I'll go back in and change it as I make the quilt. And then if I were to publish a pattern, then I would revise after the quilt was done. I would take this and then I would take what actually happened and I would make up a pattern. I've not done that yet because I've not had an audience, but if people are interested in any of my patterns, just let me know and I can do that process. So first I drew out just like a general, like, okay, that's how I want it to do. I didn't want to set them the same way all across, right? The same orientation. So what I've done is I've rotated each one 45 degrees. So wait, is that 45? Yes. Yes. Okay. So no, it's 90 degrees. I'm dumb. See, numbers, bad. So as it rotates, it starts to form these secondary shapes. So you have this going on, right? You have this sort of boxy woven thing looking here. So that's what I enjoy when I'm making a quilt, when I'm designing a quilt. I like to take a block that's pretty straightforward, not necessarily simple, but straightforward. Like this one, it's all just rectangles and a couple squares, right? So I got this all drawn out. I liked the rhythm of the darks and the lights, how that played out. I think this one worked pretty much first shot. You know, I used this layout and then I just went here and didn't change it up. I did try a second, you know, rotation orientation here. So yeah, once I have this done, then I start on this side and I have all these are all the different pieces that need cut out, A through L. Okay, some of them are the same shape, but they're going to be in different fabrics. So piece A, and I the finished size is 2 by what? Blah, not 2. 1 by 2, and so I write down 1.5 and 2.5. That's the cut. I need 240 of them, and it's going to be fabric number 1, which is red. Okay, and so I did that for each different piece, figured out which color it was going to be, and then I can calculate my yardage. So there are 8 different fabrics. I bought Kona solids. Oh, hold on a second, I'll bring them over. So here we go. So we've got, oh, that's on the wrong side for the light. Here, let me, sorry, getting used to doing this. Never done this before. Okay, here, so now the light looks better. So you can see I've got 8 different colors. I chose, the only one I did 2 of in the same family was the greens. I was shopping online and I couldn't really find, I didn't want to do white, right, in any of them. I wanted the yellow to be the lightest. And I know that contemporary Lego, there's dozens and dozens of colors, but I wanted to kind of keep it into the more classic range. Instead of 2 greens, I wanted to do 2 grays, but because I also had black and I was shopping online, I didn't really have like a clear, you know, colors online. It's really hard to tell. I didn't want a gray that leaned, like I wanted a lighter gray that was totally neutral. Like this one's pretty neutral, has a little bit of a blue sheen, but that's okay. So I chose 2 greens instead. I didn't want to do a red and a pink. You know, I've got orange and yellow already, so 2 greens seemed like the best way to go. And so I added a little bit to each one to my calculations for how many yards of each I needed, just because, you know, math. I plan on doing the binding in black. That could change depending on how the quilt looks. But right now, let's see. Fabric number 4. No, fabric number 5 is black. It's the K shape, which is just this tiny little square. So that's going to be sort of a hot point. Now, this drawing has 7 colors in it, but I changed it when I realized that I would have to do a Y seam. Because if you, here, let me flip this over and show you how I figured, was that it? Yeah, okay, so there's, if you look at this, we can, ooh, the glare. The glare. Okay. You can see this area right here, you end up having to do a Y seam because you can do these 2 pieces together. You can do these 3 pieces together. You can do these 3 pieces together, and you can do these 3 pieces together. But then to get this long piece in, you have to do some sort of finagling of a Y seam. And I need 120 of these blocks because they're only 6 inches square finished. And I didn't want to do that 120 times. And so I changed this slightly and added an 8th color, which is going to be my light green. So all I did was take this piece here and just cut it. So now there's another 1 by 1 inch square there. So that'll be green. It's a very small change, but it makes it so much easier because I can do, this is a unit, this is a unit, right? This is a unit. Well, this is a unit, this is a unit, and then this adds on last. And so I figured that out on the back. This is how, move these to the side. This is how I figure out my cutting. This is my cutting plan. So this is a perfect quilt to do strip piecing. And I did this after I figured out how much fabric I needed. So I'll probably be very safe. I'll probably have plenty of fabric because strip piecing does tend to save, oh, I'm losing my words. I'm not used to talking this much. It saves fabric when you do strip piecing. There's less waste. And it's not as easy to mess up when you're using all these small pieces because, you know, this is going to be a 6-inch unit when it's done, and there are lots of pieces, right? So for unit 1, this is unit 1. This is what I figured out for cutting. So what I have is the color and the shape. 1A, I need to have 1.5 by 2.5, and I need 120 of each of these units. So I figured out how many I could get in a strip, which is 8 1.5 inch strips. If I cut 8 1.5 inch strips, that will give me as many as I need. And I have this really handy little book that I've had for more than 20 years. When I was just beginning my quilting journey, the quilt shop that I went to, oh, I don't even know if she's in business anymore. The Front Porch Quilt Shop. I don't remember her name. She was lovely. My friend and I went in there with our babies all the time and kind of just hung out. She's in Alabama, Southern Alabama. So she recommended I get this book because I was making my own patterns then too. And she said this would really help me. And so it's great just for this particular quilt. And they have a page, this is for squares, but they have a page for rectangles, triangles. It kind of walks you through the process of how to figure out how many strips you need to get the pieces that you want, and how much fabric to buy. And so I find this book invaluable. My brain does not hold on to numbers at all. So this is good. This is really a great tool for me. I'm sure there are other things like this out now. I don't know if it's still being published, but I'm sure there are other things like this. And of course online there are calculators and stuff that you can reference, but I like to have like hard copy. So, okay, for unit 1, it has the most pieces, right? There are 6 different pieces, and this one will be finished 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 by 2, right? So that's small. So I've kind of strategized my sewing order, and so the hash marks tell you which strips get sewn together and cut first. So this is first, 7C and 5K. Those strips go together first. Cut to width. Then 1A gets added onto the long side of that. See, 2 hashes there. And after that, and I'm pressing in between each one of these things, right? Not with steam, because that will distort these little pieces. Just, you know, the lowest iron that I can. And so 6D goes on third, 3 hash marks, right? And then 8L to 7B is my 4th one, and then this little unit is sewn on to this one. That's my 5th seam. So this one's complicated. I will not start with unit 1. I will start with unit 2, which only has 2 pieces. So 1, and I'll do unit 3, and then I'll do unit 4, which you can see here's 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes. So this is how I kind of keep myself organized. Sometimes I don't go to this length of detail, but this is a pretty complicated block, and I don't have access to these fabrics except online, so I don't want to mess up, because then I'll just have to go through that whole ordering process again and shipping and all that stuff. So I don't want to do that. So that's my plan. That's my plan. I think in part 2, I will show you the cutting process, which I don't cut like a lot of people. So you might just see a different way of doing it that maybe vibes with you a little better. I use a lot fewer tools and gadgets when I cut out. I'm using basically the same tools that I got when I first started really learning how to quilt when I was, oh my goodness, not even 30. So it's been a few years. So I'm going to walk you through the whole process. And if I discover that any of these things are wrong, then I will tell you and like try to figure out where I went wrong and why I went wrong. Okay. So this is it. Ben's graduation quilt. Oh, I didn't say how big it was going to be. I think finished 72 by 60. I didn't want a bed size quilt. I don't think he's going to be in a dorm room. I think he's going to be doing some other things for a year. So I wanted to have like a lap size quilt for him, a big lap size quilt, but he's tall, so he needs room for his feet. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Hopefully you come back and see part 2 and watch this thing develop. I think it's going to be really exciting. I've never worked with all these solids before, and I think that's going to be really fun and different for me. Thank you.